Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Going to be working on the 69 Valiant today. And first up on the list of things to do is these plug wires. These are just some Excel super stock wires, 8mm. I got from working on a car a long time ago. If you look back in the videos, the 78 Corvette I worked on, the gentleman gave me these after working on it. So it's actually been sitting up for a long time. These are the ends that we need to install. Have a set of pliers here. These are just Walmart pliers, and you can see right there they do spark plug ends. Then we have our boots there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this side onto the spark plugs and just lay the wires in place and then start cutting them to fit. Also have the distributor here. I'm going to drop that in. I went ahead and put the engine on top dead center, and for some reason this cap and rotor setup that I got, the rotor doesn't fit that distributor. It just won't set down all the way on it, so I'm gonna have to get a different rotor, but the cap fits fine. So we'll drop that on, and I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and install all these into the cap and then run my wire up to it, measure it, cut it, and then take it back out and install it. I think that'll be the easiest, best way to get a good clean fit, and hadn't done this in a long time, so let's get to it. Went ahead and got all my wires in, just the long ones starting in the front, and then I worked it back because there's 4 different size wires. Got the ones on the other bank too, and then the distributor set in. Top dead center number 1 is up front, so I have that one facing to the front bank, and then all the other fittings are facing the bank that they're going to. Because what I want to do is, after I decide how I'm going to route all these guys, I'm just going to set it up here, mark it with the marker, cut it, and then we can crimp it. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how I want to route these. We have to keep in mind cleanliness, heat. This will be wrapped. Also, I'm going to get the wraps for the wires themselves so that nothing gets burned, hopefully. But yep, I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to route all this stuff, and I'll bring you guys back. Show you guys what I came up with here. I'm going to run these to the center, and this is just some painter's tape to help me put this thing together. And then I have it kind of like in a block, instead of, usually they have them in strips. They're running strips up here, but kind of like that. They're grouped together like that, keeps it nice and tight, and then running up here. So next up, I just need to trim them and crimp them to the proper size. And I'm going to do it the exact same way over here, and I think that's going to give me, I got a decent amount of room between that pipe and those wires. And like I said, those will all be covered, the pipe will be covered, and then this will run just like the other side. For anybody that hasn't done plug wires before, what you want to do is cut back 5/8 of the sheathing to get to the core without cutting the core, and these are already done from the factory, but I'm gonna have to cut them shorter. And what it's gonna do is pop off like that. You see the core there? On your end with where your wire is gonna be, you're gonna fold this back and hold it down like that, and then crimp it together. Here's plug wire number 1. I went ahead and marked it right here with a Sharpie, and that's where I need it to be folded over. So I'm gonna go 5/8 of an inch past that, cut it, and then use a razor just to cut around to strip it back. Now before I strip this back, I'm gonna go ahead and put my boot on, because I don't want to damage that core when I go to put the boot on if I go ahead and strip it back. Alright, I went ahead and slid my wire through my boot, and just gotta take your time with these things. They're kind of a pain. That's probably the hardest part of the whole project. But I'm gonna have a little razor blade here, just gonna score all the way around and strip back my wire sheathing here. Just wanna be careful. Just gonna give it a little squeeze with my needle nose and then crimp it in. Just want it to hold in there. There you go. Those pliers didn't do a great job. That should have poked in more right there, but it'll work. And then we just push it through back into the boot. I have a little update here. The pliers here from Walmart didn't work, as you saw. And in this bag that I got from Excel, from, you know, those plug wires, came these two little plates. And same thing, I just folded the wire over, and then I got my needle nose and crimped it together a little bit to where it fits in these plates good. I have it tight in here. It takes all my hands and toes and feet and everything to get it in there. But now, as you can see, this thing, let me see. This is one that's already done. It's perfect. That little Walmart tool did crap, so watch this. All right. There you go. Perfect little deal. And those hit the floor. There's a part number on it, I think, but it says Excel on it right there. Yeah, so they don't have a part number, but I don't even think they make these anymore. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish them up using those. All right, fast forward a few days, and I went fishing yesterday. That video will be posted on my other channel. But it's now Sunday afternoon, and as you can see, I did the plug wires the other night, finished those up. Still have the tape on there, need to take that off and make a permanent securement method there, but those look good. And then over here, got some parts from Nick Craig at Barnett Performance. Got me that stuff in like less than 48 hours, so got some AN fittings so I can go ahead and plumb my fuel line, which I already have excess fuel line from an earlier project. Then also, this big 10 AN is going to be for the drain on the turbo, and I bought a oil plumbing system here from eBay, and it came, you know, with everything you need, but the parts just aren't what I need actually. The bends are wrong. I can use that bend for one of them, but I needed a 90, and then this was the oil drain, and that's just too long and it wouldn't work for the way the turbo is set in there. So what I did is I bought one that had an AN fitting right here, so it just comes straight out of the turbo and I can drop it straight down. So already got that installed right there. Then I also picked up one of these angled Chevrolet thermostat housings, or water neck, because it has the same bolt pattern. It's 3.5 inch center to center, just like the Magnum engines. The problem that I see is that this is a lot smaller. So as you can see, the actual thermostat part is a lot smaller, and I'm not sure how I'm going to make this work because the hole in the intake manifold is also very large. So that being the same bolt pattern isn't necessarily going to help us out. So I think this is going to be a fail on the thermostat housing, and one of my thoughts, if I can't figure out how to make it work as is to cut this off and TIG weld that on. They're both aluminum, so that shouldn't be a problem. I think the first thing I want to do is go ahead and make this oil drain line for the turbo. This feed line here is too long, and also I needed a 90 on the end, so I reordered one of those. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on that. Went ahead and installed my fittings. You can see the 45 right here, and then my 90 right there. Made a little measurement, decided this is how long I needed it to be. So put some tape on it, measured it right there, and then I used these, which is from Harbor Freight, and these straight from Harbor Freight didn't work great, and you can see that in an older video. What I did is I took them apart, put some lubrication on them, but first I like put a surface on it with a file. So there you can see I filed it down. It was black from the factory, and I had to put the lock nut kept coming loose, so I put some Loctite on it, because every time you used it, it would come loose. But now those work pretty good, and as you can see, that's a decent cut there. Put my Went ahead and put my hose in the vise here, just holding it snug. I didn't want to crush it or anything. On the inside of your AN fittings, you'll notice they're threaded. I have found that using a drill, applying pressure, will get this thing to go on pretty smoothly. This one, I noticed, I looked at the threads. This is actually a left-handed thread, so I'm going to turn my drill backwards, set it on here, and we should be able to press it on pretty easily. You saw it bottomed out right there. Very nice. See, it's all the way bottomed out. That's the easiest way to do that. Now just screw in our top portion. Here's my hose. And on the turbo side, it is so close to the turbo I can't even get a wrench on it. So I'm gonna have to assemble it this way, tighten it, and then put it on the turbo. There's a look at the turbo return line. It is a little bit long. I might take an inch out of it, but as you can see, there's plenty of room from the exhaust to keep it cool. So that was one of the things. I didn't want it to overheat. And let's see, both sides are hooked up. And on this side, you can see in here where I was talking about I can't get a wrench in there, so I tightened it to the little mount piece and then installed it to the engine, or the turbo. All right, quick update, and then I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I went ahead and did the fuel lines just like I did the drain for the turbo, using my cutters. Cut my 6 AN lines. I have 90 degrees here, and then straight ends on the FiTech. So a little look at that, and a little look at the routing. Not necessarily the greatest, but you know, we got a tight engine bay here, so I'm doing what I can. And on the drain tube for the turbo, went ahead and cut an inch off of that. Made it look better. As you can see, you got a little piece right here. That's what I cut off. And that makes it fit tighter. It kind of had a little too much bend in it. So that's looking good. I want to show you a little bit more on this thermostat, see if you guys can help me out with this thing. So here I have the Chevrolet thermostat housing, or water neck. And as you can see, the O-ring just sets in here, and then that's supposed to set onto the intake manifold. Well, it's actually smaller than the thermostat. So when you look at this hole on the intake manifold, this O-ring barely covers that hole. So not sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. Like I said before, I may cut this thing off and weld it to the old thermostat housing. So you guys give me some ideas down in the comments. Let me know what you think. We got to get this thing done. Okay, that's gonna do it for today. I'm gonna review our checklist and see what we need to get plans for, get parts for the next video. But hope you guys are enjoying the build. Hit the like and subscribe. Make sure y'all join us on the next video, and I will see y'all soon.